In this video, I'm going to discuss dealing with white spots in your paintings, and it's all in the art instruction course on Amazon. I use three values here, black, white, and gray, and I drew these lines to show you that these internal squares are in fact the same size. But when we look at them, they don't look the same size. This white square, for example, looks bigger and closer than this black square. And that's because white reflects light, appearing to expand, while black absorbs light, appearing to contract. Similarly, this white area looks a little bit bigger than this gray area, and this gray area looks a little bit bigger than the black area. But these differences aren't as marked as these because the first two here have the greatest value contrasts. So the bottom line is that white advances while black recedes, and the stronger the value contrast, the more an area advances. This is a beautiful drawing of a wolf, but the snout doesn't seem to come forward and the white eye stands out. So I toned down the eye and added some white to the tip of his snout. And now the greatest contrast is between the white area and the black nose, and strong value contrasts cause an area to advance in space. I also added a gradation from white to gray and gave the snout a triangular shape. Showing a shape protruding toward us is really difficult to do, so we need to use all of our tricks. The many white dots in this picture confuse our sense of depth. So in my Photoshop version, I made the thumb the whitest, and now the thumb has the greatest value contrast and the most detail, so it looks like it's protruding forward. If used incorrectly, white areas can be distracting. This white foreground, for example, makes the subject appear ungrounded or floating, and when we get rid of the white, the image is more understandable. The whitest part of the still life is in front of the bread, but that takes attention away from the focus. And when I darken it here, our eye now goes to the bread. White lines running out of the picture are distracting, causing our eye to follow it. We're less likely to follow it if it gradually darkens as it approaches the edge. A particularly bad design is a line cutting off a corner of the picture, isolating it from the rest. It too should be darkened around the edges. But a line can leave the picture if it comes back or goes behind an object, then reappears. This lost and found line causes the viewer to actively participate, filling in the missing parts. To see the value contrast for this still life, I made the light areas white. When I did that, I found that the pattern for the still life is great, but the light area on the right attracts our attention, especially with this diagonal pointing toward it. If we subdued that area, we still get the feeling of light coming from the right, but now the edge frames the still life rather than catching our eye. This white cloud is behind the gray cloud, but that would be difficult to paint convincingly because white advances while gray recedes. Also, the white cloud has more details than the gray clouds, which look flat. So the whiteness of this cloud, along with its details and textures, make it look closer than the flat gray cloud, whereas in reality it is further away. Not all white areas come forward. This white sky, for example, doesn't come forward because its edges are soft, details are lost, and value contrasts are reduced, all of which we see with atmospheric perspective. So the sky remains in the distance, while this white table comes forward because it has sharp edges, details, and value contrasts. This giraffe looks rather flat, so in my Photoshop version, I reduced the value contrasts in the back and increased them progressively toward the head. I made the lower area of the head white and darkened the background so we could see it. Now, what about the snout? It's darker than the white area, but it needs to come out further. So a good solution is a saturated orange because orange is darker than white and saturated colors come forward. I love shading using color saturation rather than just value contrasts. There are interesting colors here without gray or brown that can deaden a picture. And this is particularly important with fruit because gray or brown can look like bruised spots. So for these pots, the most saturated area is the bright orange in front, making this area advance in space. It is juxtaposed on the left with blue or purple, which are the complements and near complements of orange. And on the right, we have a desaturated light yellow. In my next video, I'll show you how to make overlapping convincing.